Hey folks, how's it going? This is Seagull here, back with another video. So today I thought I'd do something a little bit different regarding my wedding stories, and that's to talk about the new sentiments that have been added to the game recently. Because simscommunity.info did a good article compiling all of them, I am glad that Maxis has not forgotten about them and that they are adding them in recent packs. Though I do wish they'd go back to the pre-Snowy Escape packs and add more to those. But without further ado, let's get into this article, going over some base game sentiments and my wedding story sentiments. First, we have a couple of base game sentiments. Friendly advice, motivating. Sim number 1 remembers when Sim number 2 listened to his/her problems and shared some thoughtful advice. Now this one I could have sworn we got with the Neighborhood Stories feature back in November of last year, because whenever I do give Sims advice through that feature, like when a Sim texts and asks, like, oh, should I become better friends with this Sim or whatever, then that sentiment does pop up. But I think the difference now might be that it's appearing, at least for me, in more situations, specifically the parenthood teaching moments. Like, for example, my teenager asked his mom for advice, and after that, he did get that sentiment. So it is possible that's the new thing that was patched in recently, that it applies to more situations in the game. Let me know in the comment section below if you've seen it in other situations besides the parenthood teaching moments and Neighborhood Stories, because I'm really curious about that. The other base game sentiment is friends in a time of loss, adoring. Sim number 1 has formed a bond with Sim number 2, the kind that can only come from the profound grief of death. This sentiment appears to be triggered by using the console about death social on a friend after someone has died. Okay, that's a nice sentiment to have, especially when your Sim is going through something that affects them so much that you also have this sentiment and that friends can be supportive of them. So yeah, that's neat. Now onto the positive sentiments with my wedding stories. Chosen to be Sim of Honor, adoring. It's an honor to be selected a Sim of Honor for Sim number 2's wedding. Okay, that's pretty nice. I honestly wasn't expecting there to be a sentiment surrounding that, but I'm glad there is. Dancing close, now and forever, enamored. The first time you dance with your spouse is a truly romantic occasion. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did see this one in the game, so yeah, that's a really nice, sweet sentiment to have with the first dance. And then gave a good wedding speech, adoring. Sim number 1 totally nailed the speech at Sim number 2's wedding. Couldn't be happier. So it's good that there are sentiments surrounding weddings, especially considering they centered the whole game pack around this. Though surprisingly, there's actually more negative sentiments surrounding weddings. We'll get to those in a minute. But this last one here is tea time with friends, close. Sim number 1 served some tea to Sim number 2, and now their friendship seems closer than ever. So I did not think there was a sentiment surrounding the tea set. I haven't actually used it yet, so okay, yeah, duly noted. I need to get around to using that. Now onto the negative My Wedding Stories sentiments. These are surprisingly spicy, some of these. Got into a fight at my wedding! Furious. On the best day of my life, Sim number 2 chose violence. Kicked out of wedding party. Furious. Sim number 1 kicked Sim number 2 out of a wedding event. What nerve! Not selected as Sim of Honor, bitter. Sim number 1 is bitter about Sim number 2 not selecting him/her. That stings. Wow, that's interesting. So I guess if your Sim who's engaged has a bunch of friends and then that engaged Sim gets married, then there's a chance that some of their friends might get bitter at them because of that. And then romantically inappropriate at my wedding! Furious. Sim number 1 is angry that Sim number 2 tried to romantically upstage him/her at his/her wedding. Not cool. I'm curious how far exactly you have to go to get that sentiment. Like, is it just a simple flirt? Or is it a kiss? Or is it even trying to actually, like, get engaged or even get married at another Sim's wedding? I don't know. I'm really curious about that. Let me know if you have actually got that sentiment in your gameplay. Next, we have wasn't invited to the wedding, bitter. Sim number 2 asked Sim number 1 to come to their wedding, but was never properly invited. The nerve. So this makes it seem like as if there's an interaction, like if you just interact with an engaged sim and there's like some social interaction where you just ask to be put on the invite list or something like that. I guess that's what it is. I'm not entirely sure. And then, you ate cake early! Furious. Sim number 2 tried to grab a piece of cake early at my wedding. Unacceptable! And then, you died at my wedding! Furious. Couldn't you just wait a little longer before kicking the can? This day was supposed to be about me. This just reminds me of Lil Simsy so much. I feel like that's something she would probably say in her videos. I did see her even tweet about Sims dying at her wedding, so yeah, interesting stuff. And then lastly we have, you interrupted the wedding ceremony, Furious. In case you didn't get the memo, Sim number 2, that was supposed to be a wedding. See, I'm also really interested in seeing what brings that up, because I mean, at the weddings that I've tried, Sims have just danced in the middle of the aisle and nothing negative really came out of it, so it's like, I don't know. And also even Sims just standing around in front of the spouses as the officiant is like, you know, like watching over everything. So it's just, I don't know. I'm really curious to see what specifically triggers that sentiment. But overall, I think there are some really interesting sentiments going on here. Definitely more than I thought there would be. And also, that is pretty cool that there's more negative sentiments than positive, especially considering how The Sims 4 has a reputation of just being this very happy game that isn't full of that many negative consequences. Though one that I still feel is missing, it's not entirely to blame on sentiments exactly, but that's, unlike the trailer, you can't just, like, ditch a sim at the altar during the wedding, because, I mean, if there was, then logically there should be a sentiment with that as well. So, I mean, sure, there still could be more, but it's still pretty cool, and yeah, in case you didn't know about these sentiments, feel free to try and get these in your game. Oh right, and I should show this image from Sims Community's article as well. It's so funny. Bob dying at his and Eliza's wedding, and of course, that's the sentiment that Eliza gets. That's great, that's classic. But feel free to let me know in the comment section below what you think of these sentiments, and how many of these you got in your game, whether you got either those two base game ones or the ones in my wedding stories. And be sure to subscribe if you'd like to keep up with my latest gaming content, including life simulations and more. So I will talk to you all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching!